Success and failure are not inherent qualities. They're just events and actions that happen on a journey through your life. They are not the definition of who you are. The truth of the matter is that in life, anyone that we think of as a success has already gone through more failures than you realise, because success isn't easy to get and it doesn't make you great if you have it. The fact of the matter is we all fall down, we all struggle all along the way. But for many of us, the fear of failure is something that scares us to death and slows us and halts us. I like to think of an analogy of a baby, really, when you think about success and failure. Babies don't understand failure. Think about when they start to try and walk. They'll get that one step and they'll fall over. And then they get back up. And then they get another few steps and they fall back over. And then they get back up again and they do a few more steps and then fall back over. And they keep doing it over and over again until such time as they start walking normally. They don't think about the success and the failure of it. It's just something that you do. I mean, how many babies do you know get up, take a few steps, fall down and go, that's it, I ain't doing that again. The thing about success that I've noticed is that in amongst all my failures, I've had a few successes along the way. And the thing about success is I've never really learned anything from any of them. It's the failures where you learn. It's the failures where you realise what you did wrong or how you could have done better. They're your learning lessons. So when we equate who we are with success or failure even, it doesn't really seem to be who you really are. The thing about it is that along the road you develop something called wisdom. Wisdom comes from experiences, and the experiences that you learn from are the mistakes you make in life. See, I don't think about success. I look at it this way. I lost a business at 30. I lost pretty much everything at 30. But what that did, it beat me down for a while. I'm not going to lie. It beat me down for a while. But when I took a step back and started to learn from it, there were the things that I'd failed at, the mistakes that I'd made. They became the lessons that I learned, and they helped me as I moved further along the road. And the trouble is, because of societal standards, we judge ourselves on whether we're a success or a failure, and that's the wrong thing to do. But I kind of think that true success, if you really want to talk about it, is how you see your life. Are you doing the things that you want to do in life? Are you doing things in a way that leaves you feeling good about yourself? What's your self-perception of who you are? Don't judge it by the standards of everybody else, because that doesn't really matter. The thing that matters most is how you see yourself. You see, to be a true success in life, you've got to perceive yourself as successful. You've got to be living a life that leaves you feeling good about yourself, about your morals, about your ethics, about all the things that deep in your soul are important to you. That's when you become a success. Certainly not by it being an executive. And if you think being an executive is a sign of success, think about this. If you have the head of a council and you think of him as a success, and you look way down the pile and you see a dustbin man who you equate to not being a success compared to the executive. But let me ask you this. If you didn't see the bin man in a month and you didn't see an executive in the month, which one would you miss most? The one that you miss the most is in the bottom of the job hierarchy. It's not as important to be the big guy. And that's how you've got to see yourself. You've got to see yourself as important. What you've got to be is like that baby. You've got to be able to just keep getting on up with no sense of ego that you're failing. You just got to keep going on and living your life, and living your life in a way that makes you feel good about yourself. And when you think about it, some people that you'd think of as successful: James Dyson, Walt Disney, James Edison. He had over 1,500 failures before he found a way to get the incandescent light to work. Walt Disney was turned down for loans by 300 and something odd banks. These were people who wanted success in their life, wanted to achieve something, but I'm sure it wasn't so much about success. as getting something that made them feel good. And that's what is important to me and is important to you, I think. What makes you feel good? For a lot of my life, I've felt uncomfortable in my own skin. I'm sure many people do. In fact, I'd go as far as to say, when I got kidney cancer, that's when I started to feel comfortable in my own skin. Because what happened was, those nights when I didn't know what this was, and I was laid in bed thinking about all the worst things and things that were important to me, what I realised was that going to work, earning a living and being a superstar weren't important. They weren't things that I really thought about anyway, but you know what I mean. What I realised during that time was the things that were important to me were the people that I care about and love. The things that were important to me were a whole lot different to the things that I worried about every single day. And so once you start to feel comfortable in your own skin, once you start to feel like you're happy in your lot, you like the person that you are, you like your own morals, those are the times when it doesn't really matter what people think of you, whether you're a success or whether you're a failure, because it only really matters to you. And the other thing, of course, is that when I realized what was important to me, I looked back at all those things I tried and failed at, and I also realized that I was more resilient than I thought I was, because I'd overcome so many things to get to where I was. And I'm not saying that I'd got to some hierarchy of status. I'm just talking about I got to the position where I actually started to like me. The way I see it is, if you're living your life in a way that makes you feel good about you, that suits you, that you're not trying to be something that you don't really want to be, that you're not living your life to other people's terms, that's when you get true freedom. That's when you get the feeling that you know who you are and you like who you are. And you can hold your head up high and not care what others say or think. You see, it's not always about stepping on the winner's podium and receiving a medal around your neck. Victory in life is actually stepping into the arena, stretching your comfort zone, becoming a better you. That's what victory is. That's what success is, if you like. The day when you can turn around and you look at yourself in the mirror and you realize that you quite like the person that you've become. That's a success. As you go on your way, you're going to do different things and they're not going to work out. One of the important things is to ask yourself the question, why didn't it work out? See what you can learn from it. I suppose the thing about it all is that every failure you have, every mistake that you make is a learning lesson. And each time you learn from something that's gone in your life that you feel is a failure, if you turn that around and you start to think about what you can learn from that, that you can take forward next time you do anything, that's when you're a proper success. So often, when we meet new people for the first time, the first thing they ask us is what you do for a living. And that to them is their status of where you are. But it doesn't matter what you do for a living. What matters is who you are as a person, what your morals, what your ethics, what your values are. That's what makes you a success in life. And as long as those values and ethics and morals are chosen by you, it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks. And if you click up there, there's a playlist of other videos that will also teach you that it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It's how you feel about yourself. I'll see you next time.